This episode is brought to you by our wonderful sponsors, Galaxy Finance. Sponsors and personal friends that I trust enough to go to with questions about my own finances. That's not a sales pitch, that's fact. Any questions, any queries, they have the solutions from home loan lending to complete financial planning. With official interest rates at an all-time low, the lenders want your business. With Galaxy Finance, they'll do all the work for you and find the best possible deal. They'll do it all. Get in contact, ask for Leanne, and mention Unfiltered for a free chat. A free chat. No obligations, a free chat just by mentioning Unfiltered. galaxyfinance.com.au is where you can find them. The great ones, they're different. They really are. Not better, just different. Sure, there's a physical power, a mental strength, a complex but resolute constitution too. There's a whole lot more than just the measurables. That's something else, that intangible. It separates us from them. Welcome to the Legends series on Andy Raymond Unfiltered. I'd rather be old school than this new shit. A direct quote from this interview, and in that one line our guest sums himself up perfectly. No tougher has played the game. As a young bloke, he was my hero, so sitting down for an hour chatting footy, life, the good and the bad, was an absolute treat. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. But who is Ray Price?
And he's a person that doesn't accept decisions. I argue with a lot of people, mostly referees, which hasn't helped me over my career because they've let people beat the Christ out of me. But yeah, I don't accept. You know, you can play better than what you're doing. And if you don't, get off the field because we'll get someone on that can.
Firstly, and more importantly than any game or any accolade, how's the health? Where are you at and how are you feeling?
Well, my wife and I are both in remission. Mate, I've never felt better in my life.
Wonderful to hear.
The doctor keeps saying, there's something wrong with your liver. But, you know, like, I always thought, and I'm not a doctor, but I always thought, well, if you had some ill feelings or sick or whatever, your body would feel it and tell you. My body doesn't tell me anything. I feel great. I honestly feel great.
When did you first find out about the dreaded cancer? I'm trying to establish a timeline. Was it 2006?
Man, I'm not sure. I had bowel cancer.
Yep.
They told me to get all my things into order because you won't see the end of the year out. I said, yeah, pig's arse, I won't. So I beat that. I've had a few melanomas.
Yep.
They always say that they've got them. 6 years later, bloody thing's coming back. Yeah. So, but we're both in remission. So, yeah, we're both doing good, mate. You know, unless a lot of people don't realise what I did on the football field, I'm a fighter and I don't intend to give in.
Being told you have bowel cancer, you're a tough guy on the field. How hard did that hit you? Harder than any tackle, I bet.
Well, see, I think if you get some cancers early, they can be treated, you know, but there are a lot of... I'm not pig-headed. Well, it's up for
sort
debate. I'm a little bit pig-headed, I suppose. But
what would Sandy say? Would she say you're pig-headed?
No.
Are you sure? Are you telling me the truth, Ray?
No, she's a lovely, lovely person. But the part about it is, I got that early, but he reckons it was really a bad thing. But, yeah, so I put that report into the news and all stuff like that
Yep.
because I wanted people to save their life. If a male goes and gets himself checked, it's a lot easier than getting the cancer or getting it so severe you can't heal it. So don't be afraid. Go and check yourself out.
Clear and sensible message, isn't it? And because most guys are pig-headed or too busy, they don't go and check themselves.
Mate, that's right. And then they die. And then they've lost their family, or their family have lost their father, or wife has lost the husband. Mate, I would rather live.
Let's wind back to the early years, mate. You started out in the 15-a-side game, but your dad, Kevin Bluey Price, actually played for the North Sydney Bears, right? I think we're talking, before you were born, we're talking late 40s?
Oh, yeah. But, you know, my father won the 100 metres at Joey's.
Wow.
So he could run.
Yeah.
He was fast. He was small. He was 5'1" or something. Red head.
Yeah.
That's his drawback, the red hair. But they said to him, Bluey, play halfback. He said, shove it up your arse. I'm playing lock. I like to tackle. But the big fellas just killed him. And that's what happened to his career. And then he drank and smoked and, yeah. But I would have liked to see him play because I reckon he would have been a fiery bastard.
Dundas Valley to the mighty Parramatta 2 Blues, with your brother Don too, in and around this time. What are your memories of the early years of rugby union?
Both brothers I played with in first grade, both brothers.
Wow.
My eldest brother went there first.
Yep.
I went there when I was 17, and then my younger brother came, and they all had the height. Donald who's the youngest, is 6'4". Michael is 6'2". I didn't quite get to the 6 foot.
You got the tough side of the family. Did you enjoy the early years of rugby union, or were you always looking out of the corner of your eye at rugby league?
No. I didn't worry about rugby league. I played rugby union because it was a great game then. Yeah. See, I've had a lot of privileges through my career, and my privilege in rugby union was I played in a bloody good Australian side.
Oh, yes.
You know, we went over to England and we had nothing but injuries. Like I had a hernia operation, I busted my hand, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, what's going on? But I kept coming back. I always came back after any injury and played again.
8 tests for the Wallabies between 74 and 76. What stands out as a memory in representing the Wallabies? Is there something that you remember more fondly than anything else?
We gave it to the All Blacks too. We took it to them. Not like today.
Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't know what taking it to the All Blacks is. You've got to belt them. And that is not a sense of belting people with your fists. It's your shoulder.
Yeah. And being a hard man, a genuine hard man.
Well, you've got to be.
Yeah.
You don't take their crap that they're going to give you. So, yeah, we did that. But I had a bloody good side I was playing into.
Who was the standout? If you had to name one, or is it too hard to name one?
Mate, Hippie was the captain.
Yeah.
Paul McLean was the 5'8". Mark Loam was the lock. Me and Shorey were the flankers. Mate, we had some bloody good players.
You terrorised league opponents later in your career, but I believe you terrorised poor English fly half, Alan Old, so much on that tour in the UK, he refused to stand anywhere near the line out, anywhere near you. Do you remember poor Alan?
Yeah, I loved getting halves and 5'8". That was my job. I was a fly half from the scrum, and my first tackle would be the halfback if he didn't let go of the ball, and then the 5'8". And it was the same from the line out. That was my job. Knock those two out of the game.
It's funny because it was a trait that you carried into rugby league. Get the 6, get the 7 and get them as hard as you can.
But look at the 6 and 7 I played with.
Yep.
That's what I mean.
There
it is again. I was privileged to play in that side.
At the time, rugby union was amateur. The league boys were making a few bucks. In 1976, when you made the transition from union to league, was it just a business decision?
Yeah, mate. I always wanted to play rugby league.
Yeah.
I was playing it then anyway. I'd play union on the Saturday and I'd back up and play league on the Sunday.
Were you a rugby player playing league or a genuine rugby league player?
Oh, no, I played both games how they were supposed to be played.
Yep.
Hard.
You're listening to Andy Raymond Unfiltered, the Legends series. We have corporate and private sponsorship packages available. You set the terms. For further information on how you can become part of the team, go to the website andyraymondunfiltered.com.au and hit the sponsorship tab. Was there a difference in the mid-70s to how the two games would be played?
Well, I think a lot of things have gone soft.
Yes.
Meaning both games. Rugby union is just so put you to sleep stuff now. Yeah. And rugby league, it's that fast, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't see the point of why they keep changing things, and they're only changing it for their own reasons.
You took to rugby league so quickly, and the stories are so easily. You had an immediate impact and immediate success. Why was that, do you think? Because a lot of rugby union guys, and the vast majority, struggle making the transition.
But I was already playing the game.
Yeah, okay.
I'd been playing it for years. So really it's not a hard game. It's a game that you play with two less men.
In 76, you'd make the grand final. You'd lose to Manly 13-10. 1 year later, a real piece of history when it was the Eels and the Dragons twice, 9-all, and then 7 days later, back again for a replay. Busy week.
Mate, it was a busy week, but it shouldn't have been, because how does a front rower pick the ball up in a scrum and go through the scrum and score a try? That's what beat us in the first one. And then the 22-0, well, that was just a referee. He let them beat the shit out of us.
It's 2021 and you still don't like the refs, do you?
Mate, I don't think there's a ref that knows the friggin' rules.
I love it. I reckon there's a chance you and Rod Reddy probably still have sleepless nights once or twice a week over that first game, that first grand final. The pair of you ripped into one another like it's rarely been seen before.
Yeah, but Rocket was allowed to do it. I wasn't. Every time I retaliated at something, I got penalised. But that I blame myself also a little bit for that, because I used to give the refs a hard time.
You played above your weight, Ray. You look at your feuds or the guys that you would make it personal with, they were all bigger, always throughout your career.
But size really is nothing. I had a tackle that I could break people.
Yeah.
It was called the Cumberland Throw, and I was the only one not allowed to use it. They let everyone else use it,
yep,
but they wouldn't let me use it.
Why didn't they let you use it?
Because I did it right. All it says in the tackle book is you put your hands on the person.
Yep.
You can use your feet or legs or whatever in any way to tackle that person. And that's all I did. I bought it from Union, put it in a league. I've had people chase me and run out of oxygen because I land them on the top of their shoulders, what's he up there, just below his neck,
yep,
and that's where the windpipe is, and
so it wins them as well.
It stops them from breathing.
Wow.
I had a guy chase me one day. He's a big bastard. And he just collapsed. Well, thank Christ. Wow. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I love tackling. I didn't love hurting people, but they're going to hurt me.
Yeah, that's right.
So I just get in before they do.
In 1978, you'd play the first of 15 games for New South Wales. It wasn't the State of Origin then, it was the Interstate Series, but you'd also play State of Origin after 1980. Yeah. Was it the same experience, or did things change when the Origin eligibility changed?
Well, here's my hatred of referees again. The Origin was a joke. Gomersall was the biggest joke I have ever talked to. He was so pathetic. He cheated for them.
Yep.
And I mean cheated. I even went, he was in hospital, and I went to him and said, "Why did you cheat?" He said, "Oh, my Queensland boys. I helped my Queensland boys." I said, "That's fucking cheating." Mate, and they thought they were doing the right thing. You know, it's very hard to beat a referee when he keeps putting his arm up. So, yeah, look, I don't believe the results in the Origin were true. Queensland can make out of it whatever they want. Yeah. I don't give a shit about Queensland. But, yeah, I hate being cheated.
Was it different playing with guys than against guys pre-1980, after 1980? Because the Queenslanders were actually playing for New South Wales before 1980.
Yeah, I know. But that's where they got their skill from.
From you guys?
From New South Wales. It's a harder game down in New South Wales than it is up here.
That year, you'd also debut for Australia. You'd travel on the 1978 Kangaroo Tour of the UK, an amazing tour. Some equally as amazing footballers and blokes too. What an experience for a young bloke.
Mate, that was a great tour. You know, that was a stronger tour. We were undefeated in 82.
Yep.
The 78 side was a far better side.
That was my next question. Which side wins?
Oh, mate, 78. They were tough. They were real. It was a tough team. And it was the Pommies could play then too.
Couldn't they?
You know, the old grandpas came out in 82. But, yeah, I don't care. I'll play whoever they put on the field.
What's your fondest memory of the 78 tour? Was it on the field or off the field?
Oh, no. I don't play up and I don't muck around. Mate, I love my wife.
Yeah.
You know, But look, I enjoyed the football because I enjoyed the people I was playing with. And, you know, you can pick out a great side from all the people in that side like each other. If there's one or two that don't like someone in there, it's not a good sign.
How did you go with that? Because you, as a player, made things personal. You challenged yourself against your opposition, and you didn't like them for 90 minutes of a week. How did you go from disliking a player to rooming with him or playing next to him?
Oh, you mean like when I played against him back in Australia? Yeah. Oh, no. Mate, if you can't leave that alone, gee, don't play.
Yep. You'd become the 36th dual international in 1978, following Jeff Richardson, preceding the great Michael O'Connor. What does the title dual international mean to you? Is it something special?
Mate, it is special because I enjoyed playing both games. As a matter of fact, I retired in 86 and then played 15 years of union. Tour. They said, we'll pay for your wife.
Yep.
Tour with us, will you please? I said, mate,
yeah,
no trouble whatsoever. If all I got to do is bash some people, who cares? But yeah, mate, I love being competitive. I love playing. You know, like, they're great games.
This episode is brought to you by our wonderful sponsors, Galaxy Finance. Sponsors and personal friends that I trust enough to go to with questions about my own finances. That's not a sales pitch, that's fact. Any questions, any queries, they have the solutions from home loan lending to complete financial planning. With official interest rates at an all-time low, the lenders want your business. With Galaxy Finance, they'll do all the work for you and find the best possible deal. They'll do it all. Get in contact, ask for Leanne, and mention Unfiltered for a free chat. A free chat. No obligations, a free chat just by mentioning Unfiltered. galaxyfinance.com.au is where you can find them. It's a rare club though, Dual International.
Well, yeah.
You must have been doing something right.
Well, I just hated losing.
Back to club footy and our mighty Eels. There was grand final losses in 76, 77, and then a wait of 4 years to get back to the grand final. But something was building at Parramatta. The next generation had arrived, even though they were young. Sterling, Kenny, Ella, Growth. Did you know this was a special lot of kids straight away?
Well, you know, they were all going to leave to Manly, go to Manly, and I got them all in a group, and I said, so you're thinking about going to Manly, are you? I said, well, we're going to play you twice, and I'm going to beat the fuck out of you. Excuse that French, but
I can verify that because I did one of these interviews with Brett Kenny recently, and he told me the stories of how if a young player was going to leave, you would walk over and say, I'll bash you. I'll find you and I'll bash you.
Yeah. But on the field.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, oh, shit, yeah. Mate, I did not want to lose those players. Those players were all champions. Brett Kenny, Peter Sterling. Peter Sterling's not the fastest halfback in the world, but he's got the quickest brain in the game. And I didn't mind doing his tackling because I love tackling anyway. Who cares? But to keep him fit. See, and you've also got to look at Crow.
Yeah.
Crow played that last season with one eye.
Yeah. He showed amazing character.
But all he had to do was issue the orders to the people in and outside of him. He had young kids around him that would do anything for him. And that's why we had such a great side. Everyone loved each other. We still get together now. And that's 34 years ago when we last played.
Still good mates?
Yeah. They're all still good mates. And that's the best part about it. I'd love to put this side up against the St George side that won their 10 grand finals or whatever it was,
The 11 straight from 56 to 66.
Yeah.
Can you compare eras?
Well, no, because, I really think an era is a different game.
Yeah.
And they were different games then. They only played, wasn't it 1 yard at one stage? Yeah.
Unlimited tackle.
We'll have a look now. Refs don't even know how to detect 5 metres from 10 metres.
Yep.
So, yeah. And I think the referees were a little bit better back in that era
than they are now.
Oh, they're crap.
Parramatta entered the competition in 1947. You would win your first premiership with all the players we just mentioned in 1981. A hard-fought 20 points to 11 win over Newtown. What stands out from the game, Ray?
Tommy biting me the bastard. I respect Tommy extremely well. I've got a lot of time for him. I've been friends with him ever since I've been playing.
Yep.
And, he just bit me. He bit me on the arm. So I belted him. I got penalised. Yeah, it happens. But yeah, that stood out. If we didn't win that game, we were never going to win a grand final.
Wow.
That's how it was.
That's how important the game was.
That's right. So I was ready to take the referee out if he started cheating.
The celebrations in Parramatta were crazy. That was the night celebrations got so out of hand that the grandstand was burnt down at Cumberland.
But they burned all our training gear in the grand final.
Was it?
Yeah. Look, it's the same. I couldn't understand why they pulled the last stadium down.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just extend to it?
Mm.
You know, all of a sudden they've come in with a mozza of money or something. Well, pay it to the players or something. Give it to someone else. But yeah, I really could not understand why they did that, because it was a good ground.
It was a good ground. They had to do something after 81 because, as we said, the fans burnt down the grandstand at Cumberland Oval. So you guys are in the Leagues Club trying to celebrate a grand final and have a quiet beer, and they're burning your home ground 200 metres across the paddock.
Right. I love Cumberland Oval. It was a great field. You know,
hard as a rock?
I knew where the hard spots were. I nearly drowned on it once. It was a rainy day, and there was a puddle down near the try line, about 6 inches deep, and I had this big guy fall on me, and he's pushed me head into the water. Oh,
wouldn't let you go.
No. He just accidentally fell on me, right? And I've found the strength to just push myself up with him on my back, the whole lot, because it scary. Yeah, fear of death.
Cumberland Oval, you'd have some wonderful memories of some amazing games there, wouldn't you?
Mate, we played the Union there too, so
okay,
yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
They wouldn't let us. I don't know if they wouldn't let us on it, but we went away from there playing our games. So yeah, hey, it's a great field. We've burnt a lot of people there. We've had Mick Cronin got sent off for fighting in one of it was either the last game or the second last game of one season.
Mick Cronin fighting, the nicest man in the world.
Crows threw a punch, I'm telling you. Yeah.
Someone must have got under his skin.
But see, it's easy to play when you've got good personnel.
Yeah.
And we had some bloody good personnel.
We hope you're enjoying Andy Raymond Unfiltered. The Legends series drops at the start of the week, in depth, personal, reflective, the best interviews, the best guests. The Weekly Wodge is the must-listen of your week. Current and former superstars chat footy and have a laugh, and on any one week, we speak to up to a dozen guys on the one podcast. Yeah, it's stacked. That drops just in time for your footy weekend. One-on-One is our weekend drop. We chat with mixed martial artists, boxers and professional wrestlers, both past and present, about their life and times. Some amazing guests, some amazing stories. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at The Andy Raymond, and make sure you're also subscribed here. That way you won't miss a thing. Your podcasts will drop immediately. Before you go, we'd love a 5-star rating and review on the app you're currently listening on. It really helps us spread the word as we look to grow the Unfiltered brand. Make sure you come back soon, legends. This episode is brought to you by our wonderful sponsors at Griffin Air Conditioning. Visit them at griffinair.com.au. Welcome back to Andy Raymond Unfiltered, the Ray Price story. We've already spoken about the rugby union days, what it meant to be a Wallaby, moving to rugby league and the early grand finals. The story continues. You look through your side of that era, and I still maintain it's up there with any side, even to this current day.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it up for all the Team China.
We spoke about Brett Kenny earlier. He scored a double in that 81 grand final.
No. He scored a double in every grand final we have won, but they haven't given it to him. You tell me, in the last grand final...
2 disallowed tries.
That's right. Go back to the next one, 2 disallowed tries. Yeah. I'm not even sure if they gave him 2 tries in one grand final. They may have.
81, 82, 83.
Yeah. But he every grand final he scored 2 tries. He's a freak.
Was he the best you played with, or is that hard to say?
But,
yeah,
mate, he make Wally look like an old man.
Yeah. Special talent.
Oh, mate, well, that's what I'm saying. Half 5'8", or lock half 5'8". The 3 most important positions in a football team, and we had them covered.
I've done one of these Legends series interviews with Mick Cronin, and he recalls about a young Brett Kenny that Arthur Beetson came over and said, get to the game early on Sunday. Yeah. You've got to see this kid.
Yeah, that was when Crow was coaching. Yeah, right. But they were freaks. The same as Zip. Have a look at the size of Zip and have a look who he was marking. He's marking Big Mal.
Yep.
Used to tackle him.
Just the fact that Zip was able to claim a couple of premierships after the start of his career and his knee injury, which was one of the most horrific knee injuries I think we've ever seen, is an amazing achievement.
Yeah. Oh, mate, they were all good. Guru. And then Lydiard comes along, and then someone else comes along. And it's unbelievable. If we lost a player, we gained a better one, or equal.
The 82-83 wins over Manly, do they hold the same sentimental value to you, or is the first one more special?
Well, you got to win.
Yep.
Bozo beat us in the 76 grand final.
Yes.
He shepherded from the referee and scored a try, and they beat us. A lot of people don't know. They think as soon as you say something, you're whinging. I'll show you whinging. Get out on the field. I'll teach you a couple of things. But, things happen.
Yep.
And you can't have an answer for all of them. But you didn't deserve to lose that game because they didn't deserve to beat you.
Yep.
So I do it in that way, and if anyone calls me a whinger, well, they can call me a whinger to my face and see how I go.
82 and 83, I think it was probably when the Manly rivalry really started, the Manly-Parramatta rivalry. 2 good grand finals when we look back. In terms of games, they were great games to watch.
Wombat is one of the best fullbacks that I've seen, right? But he couldn't tackle Guru.
He wouldn't be the only one.
Oh, no, I know that. Guru used to run down the field like that. They just hit his arm. But, that shows you the calibre of the winger that Guru was. He only ran as fast as he needed to.
Some say he was quicker without the ball than he was with the ball, because when he had the ball, he was in control and he only had to run as fast as he needed to.
That's right.
Defensively, if he was chasing someone, then you'd see him motor.
Yeah. Oh,
Big,
mate.
strong thing on the wing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And we've had a couple of those people like that, wingers like that. And over the last 10 and 15 years. But I like one of the guys we've got in our team now. He's got the same name as the Canberra guy. He's got fuzzy hair sort of thing, dark fuzzy hair. He's a second rower or front row. Scores 2 tries in just about every match.
Isaiah Papali'i.
Yeah, mate. Very, very good player. When I go to this magic round, I'm going into the box, into the room, and I'm going to introduce myself to every player because stupid Smith, the coach, we said to him when Newcastle beat him in the grand final, we said, mate, we know exactly what Newcastle are going to do.
Yep.
We can win this. We can help you win this grand final. My blokes wouldn't even know who you people are.
Was that the response?
That's what he said to me. I said, mate, when I went to a club, I learned the history of the club.
Yeah.
You learn the names of the players. You're a dead shit. And I said, you'll never win a grand final as long as your ass points to the ground.
And he didn't.
No. Well, how could he? He's short syndrome.
Was that insulting?
Well, it was insulting because, Parramatta, we've won 4 grand finals. I've played in 8 grand finals out of 11 years. But they don't want our help. We want to help them, but they don't want our help.
Do you think yourself and some of your old teammates would like to have more input at the club? Not necessarily coaching input, but a mentoring role and a friendly face and teaching a bit of history to the young kids.
But that's what they don't do. They don't invite us. They don't, they might say, oh, yeah, we invite you to come down to the... What?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm helping a team up here, Blamble.
Yep.
I'm teaching them how to tackle and make sure they hurt the people before they hurt them. Mate, they're only a young team, but I wanna do something,
Do you enjoy teaching?
Well, I do because a lot of them don't understand why you do these things, and I put them on the stand straight away. I said, hey, you blokes only train twice a week. I said, that's shit. I said, if you don't all give me another 2 training days where you go for a run, I won't pick you.
Speaking of that, you guys trained in the 70s, early 80s 2, maybe 3 times a week only for an hour or 90 minutes.
No, I trained 6 days a week.
Not as a team, though. That was individually,
no. But
being the professional.
To me, endurance is the most important thing you can have in a game. Endurance and tackle. If you can do those 2 things or you've got those 2 things, you'll be successful in whatever you do.
Brett Kenny told me the story of you, how professional you were and how ahead of your time you were in terms of treating injuries and preparing yourself. He said you'd get bashed up on a weekend and you'd spend the next 5 or 6 days meticulously planning and executing so you could get back out there for the weekend.
I hated missing games. I didn't want to miss a game. I wanted to play all the time. I enjoyed playing.
Did you guys, through this era, realise just how good this footy side was, or you don't think like that at the time?
I knew it was a good side because I could see the personnel that was in there. And there wasn't a thing that a player couldn't do.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he had to do this or he had to do that or whatever, they could do it. And, mate, when you've got people like that, you know you've got a good side. And you can feel it.
You're listening to Andy Raymond Unfiltered, the Legends series. We have corporate and private sponsorship packages available. You set the terms. For further information on how you can become part of the team, go to the website andyraymondunfiltered.com.au and hit the sponsorship tab. Ray, you weren't the captain in the early 80s, but you were the leader.
Yeah, no, I think I captained in the... before Edgy came, I captained. Then they made Edgy captain. And then when Edgy left, I was captain.
Is there a difference in your mind between a captain and a leader? Because whilst you may not have always been captain, you were always the leader.
Oh, yeah. I didn't... It didn't worry me, but when I was captain, I could embarrass people into doing things, you know, and it's a gentle way of saying, pull your head out of your ass and start playing.
Why do you think your teammates wanted to play for you? Why did they wanted to follow you? Why were you such a good leader?
Mate, because I love to win, and they took that off me. They got that off me, you know, and that's the best thing you can do. If you play sport, you don't play anything to lose, surely. Yeah. So, yeah, I like winning.
Who was the best leader or captain you played with, whether it was at club football or representative football, and what separated them from the rest?
Mate, John Hipwell was a very good captain, halfback, rugby union. There wasn't much Hip he couldn't do, and he was a tough little bastard, and he could tackle. But I enjoyed Edgy as a captain. As I said, the reasons why Jack made him the captain, but he could read a game. He had the right personnel around him, so we all did it for Edgy.
Steve Edge, Ray Price, Mick Cronin, and the list goes on and on.
Mate, Bob O'Reilly, you got to put him in.
Bob O'Reilly, all team first players.
Oh, mate, he is the bear. I'm telling you, this is the socket in his ankle, right? It should go like that. Bears is like that. How he even walked, let alone run.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. Now, I got a lot of time for Bear.
You guys all had that team first mentality, though. There may have been egos, but they were pushed aside.
No, there were no egos. First. Really, there were no egos. No one put themselves above the game or above the team.
It wouldn't have been tolerated.
No, but they were all smart, pretty smart people. They knew where and what they were doing.
I first met you in about 84, 85, I reckon. You guys would come and train occasionally, where I trained as a young fella boxing with the great Trevor King at North Parramatta. You guys were my heroes. I thought it was great that you guys would come in and train alongside of us. But what I actually took out of that, even as a young bloke, one, how close of a bunch of guys you were, but two, how much respect the others had for you. When you spoke, they listened.
Yeah. But that's what you like. You know, like, I played hard to get a lot of respect out of these people. And, you know, I respect people that play hard against me. So that's why you do these things.
Is that nice to be remembered for that? A player that had the respect of his teammates and opponents?
Well, I think it's better to be remembered for that than to be remembered for an arsehole.
Yeah. 1986, a grand final that still holds a special place in my heart. Yours too. It was my first grand final, your last. What a magical day.
Mate, we couldn't do anything wrong. Crow missed a couple of goals. You know, like, I suppose if I was a really, really, really hard person, I could say, well, Crow cost me 2 grand finals. The bastard missed goals. Stuff not freaking easy. But he had the wind. He was blind in one eye. But, mate, they weren't going to take that game off us. I made sure. I did the last tackle of the game.
Yep.
Just short of the line, and he was not going anywhere near it.
It had everything, that game, in particular theatre, even down to the final 60 seconds with the Bulldogs threatening to steal it and to ruin your party.
Yeah, they weren't going to do that.
What a tough football side they were, the Bulldogs.
No, well, the Bulldogs and us had a lot of competition.
Yeah.
We had eras with Manly where we were very competitive. We had eras with the Bulldogs, and then the others were just sort of they made up the numbers a little bit. South, a couple of times we had some ding dong battles and that.
The game's changed so much in the last 40, 50 odd years, but in essence it's changed very little. The more you want it, the harder you tackle them, the harder you run, the more likelihood is you're going to win the football game. That will never change.
No, look, if you ever lose the respect of playing hard football, you may as well not play.
Yep.
But they're changing a game that didn't need to be changed the way they've changed it.
Yeah.
Right? Coaches have got nothing to say. They reckon they know everything, but they don't. And all they're doing is making the game faster and making the referees cheat.
Is it too fast in 2021, the game?
Especially when they keep giving 6 tackles again. But in saying that, when they give the 6 tackles, it's always only on the first tackle. So what is the point of it?
The coaches have worked that out very, very early, haven't they?
Yeah. And so have the players, because the players know they can slow the game up just by having that penalty.
Let's go back to 86, and you and your good mate Mick Cronin would retire on the podium with the trophy. Being able to choose when you wanted to walk away and on your terms, it doesn't happen that much. More times than not, it's a coach or a CEO or an injury saying it's time. You and Mick, as great mates, got to do it on your terms. That's pretty special, Ray.
Well, I always wanted to do that. I did union the same way.
Yep.
But, I wanted to win. No one knew I was going to retire. They were guessing.
Yeah.
But I could have played on for another couple of years, but I didn't want to. I went back to union then and played touring. But
you told your teammates that week, hadn't you?
No, I hadn't told them all.
Okay.
A couple of them, I hadn't told anyone really because they were guessing.
Yep.
Right. And they were guessing if Crow was going to retire. I knew Crow was going to retire because of his eye.
Yep.
But, I don't know if I would have retired if I lost the game. I don't know.
Is that why you kept it quiet? Because you were maybe a little uncertain?
Well, yeah. I want to go out a winner.
Yeah.
And I want to go out on my terms. And that's what I got to do. And that's the best thing.
Griffin Air Conditioning offers the highest quality of air conditioning sales and service across the Sydney metropolitan area, providing installation and maintenance to commercial, domestic and industrial customers. Working with this team, you'll be guaranteed the latest services, technology and developments in the industry. Visit griffinair.com.au and tell them we sent you for a cool deal. So many great memories, so many great moments throughout the 80s alongside a bunch of mates. Were you actually mates with Jack Gibson, your coach?
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny thing that happened with Jack, right? My wife doesn't like me repeating this. But when I wrote a book.
Yep.
And it was called Perpetual Motion. And Jack read it. And he came up to me and he said, "Is there anything I did for your career?" I said, "You cranky old bastard. I said, because I gave Ron Massey the credit for what was due to him. Mate, they are like a team. They are the best coaching team I've ever seen, heard about, or had. Anyway, I went and visited him then a couple of weeks later or whatever. He was in hospital, and I went and visited him, and I had to dress him and stuff like that. But over the next year, I never came so close than what I was with Jack Gibson. So he accepted all that and could see that I wasn't taking anything away from him.
Yeah.
He was the greatest coach I've ever had.
What made him so good?
Well, because of the pair, the two of them, right? Jack can be there talking. He bought a bus to Granville Park, and we'd have our team meetings in the bus. Anyway, Jack would be talking, and then all of a sudden he'd go blank. And like putting your hand up his back, Massey just come up with the word that he wanted.
Wow.
And off he'd go, and he'd just keep going how he did. And that's why they were so great. Massey knew the best footballers could pick them from anything. He was unbelievable. He just had this skill about him. And Jack was great. You know, he used to do a lot of funny things. Like, remember his big coats he used to wear? You know, the big polar bear one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here
comes a polar bear. But the guys were young.
Yeah.
And they all had a joke with him.
Yep.
And that was the best thing about Jack Gibson, because we brought him down to our level.
Yep. But he knew when to lift you up to his.
Oh, yes, yes. He knew who was running the game, but he would listen to the players. And, you know, there's not many coaches that listen to their players, because I believe, and this is only my saying, but I believe John Mooney became a better coach when he started listening to the players.
I think we can agree respectfully. You had that mongrel in you and used it to become the very best that you could be. How did the great Mick Cronin do it? The nicest man in the world, doesn't have a nasty or aggressive bone in his body. Why was Mick so good?
Hey, he got sent off.
For punching?
Yeah. Yes. Teddy Goodwin it was. Fighting Teddy Goodwin.
Is that at Cumberland Oval?
Yeah.
Lord Ted and Mick Cronin. There is two of the nice guys.
Look, Crow's a lovely man. He takes a stride that far. It wouldn't even be a foot. That's how he just runs pigeon toes. Like, but the Crow is no one. I've never seen anyone put him down one-on-one.
Amazingly strong.
Oh, isn't he? That's all those kegs he picks up.
Yeah.
But look, I keep saying I've been privileged because I've been touched in every side that I've played in. I've been touched with a great side. And, mate, the best side was the Parramatta one, but the second best side was the rugby union one, the Australian rugby union one. And, mate, it's great.
Yeah. We've seen some wonderful halves combinations over the years, and halves still to this day get the accolades, the Dally M medals and the special plays. In your opinion, has there been a better 6 and 7 than Brett Kenny and Peter Sterling?
No. Not a hope. I don't care who they put up. You know, like Bert's got the speed.
Yeah.
Bert's very close, very agile. He can get through anything.
Yep.
And he can tackle. I don't want Sterling to tackle. He can tackle. There's no doubting that. But, you know, now, I don't know if Sterling would like me saying this, but he won a lot of man of the matches, right? But I think, and I think he would agree with me on this one. Paul Taylor won a lot of them for him. Because they were so unbearing.
Yeah, well, they ran the show, didn't they? Yeah.
Oh, mate. Squizzy could tackle anything. He was a great player. And I honestly, look, I've seen him play some games and you think, wow, still they got them out of the way. Sure.
Blonde hair confusing people?
Yeah. Well, still I had a little bit of hair. It only happened when he had hair because when they got him bald, he had to win his own.
Some of the most iconic moments, the photos and the videos of growing up idolising rugby league in the 1980s were of you on your back, Alfie Richards, your trainer grabbing your jersey, pulling you back to your feet for one more tackle, one more run. You just didn't have a stop button. You refused to concede. That's an amazing mindset.
Mate, I set my mind to what I want it to do and my body will do it for me. So, yeah, look, there's a lot of these head injuries and things like that, but I honestly don't think I set my mind. If I'm knocked out, they'll take me off. Right? They never took me off. I have been knocked into Gaga land, but I know I can come back from that. So, as I said, I hate missing parts of the game.
Were you stubborn? Were you silly? Or both?
No. I was stubborn.
Yeah.
But I wasn't silly because if I was injured, I would go off.
How's the body now?
Yeah, my body's all right. I've still got a busted cruciate ligament, but I played 15 years of rugby union with that. So I strap it. I know how and what I've got to do because you learn these things over the years. So, yeah, mate, if you want to do something, trust me, your mind will let you do it.
Are you concerned about the impact of the repeated head knocks that you and everyone else got in that era, or is it just that's part of the deal?
Mate, well, it's not part of the deal. It's part of the incompetence from the referee. But there's nothing I can do about it.
Yep.
Like I'm doing these. I do all.
You do your crosswords and
I
your
do all the numbers
and
all things like that, just to keep your mind refreshed. So, mate, it's a fight, and if you drop your gloves, you lose the battle. But I don't intend to drop my gloves.
Your playing weight was 87 to 89 kilos for much of your career. In 2021, a lot of the halfbacks are 94, 95 kilos. The wingers are 108, 110. Times change.
Well, I started at 78.
78 kilos?
My first game of rugby union, yeah.
Wow.
I marked Kirkpatrick.
Oh.
He was 15 and a half stone. But who cared? I come on through him. He didn't come back.
Guys like yourself and Wayne Pearce, David Gillespie, Stephen Folkes, wonderful tackle technique.
Mate, that's what you needed. If you didn't have the technique, you couldn't do it. Like, I know, I'm confident to stop a person. Right? There are some people that aren't confident and they put their head in the wrong place or put it into someone's knee or into their hip and things like that, and it knocks them out. They haven't been taught how to tackle. I was taught how to tackle. I used to love tackling. I've been tackling since I was 6 years old.
Do you like the rugby league you see now?
No.
No? It doesn't work for you?
Soft. There's some good players. There's some great players. There are some bludgers.
Yep.
But you're always going to have that in the game. But yeah, why change something that was good? And don't tell me it wasn't good. Because have a look at the attendance that used to turn up. So, yeah, I'm old. I'm old school.
That's not a bad thing.
Oh no, I'd rather be old school than this new shit.
Going back to 86 and that last premiership, it's easy for us Eels fans because it's our last one. That's our last boast. It's been a long time. Does that hurt you? Because you're still a proud Eel.
It does hurt me, and I reckon it's the lack of 80-minute games that they put in. But in saying that, I believe that they had the team to win. Now, this is out of like 34 years since I've retired from WotC.
Yep.
I think could have easily won 5 premierships with the teams. They should have beaten friggin' Newcastle.
I agree.
That was just a joke.
Yep.
Through a dead shit coach. So, yeah.
Is 2021 the year?
Mate, look, I like how they're going. I'll tell you after tonight's game.
The money in 2021 is crazy. With money comes pressure, comes expectation. Is there too much pressure on these young blokes?
It's too much money. They're not earning the money. So if they want to earn big money, let them play big time.
You played the game as tough as anyone had or has since. You led your team via actions more than words. But you've never been sheepish to say the words that needed to be said. You're passionate, you're professional, you have always been a gentleman. You were also my hero growing up, and after 30 years of interviewing footballers, this ranks at the very top of my experiences. It has been an absolute pleasure. Ray Price, you, sir, are a legend.
Mate, thank you very much. I enjoyed playing. I hated losing. And I would do anything for any of our fans.
We hope you're enjoying Andy Raymond Unfiltered. The Legends series drops at the start of the week, in depth, personal, reflective, the best interviews, the best guests. The Weekly Wodge is the must-listen of your week. Current and former superstars chat footy and have a laugh, and on any one week, we speak to up to a dozen guys on the one podcast. Yeah, it's stacked. That drops just in time for your footy weekend. One-on-One is our weekend drop. We chat with mixed martial artists, boxers and professional wrestlers, both past and present, about their life and times. Some amazing guests, some amazing stories. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at The Andy Raymond, and make sure you're also subscribed here. That way you won't miss a thing. Your podcasts will drop immediately. Before you go, we'd love a 5-star rating and review on the app you're currently listening on. It really helps us spread the word as we look to grow the Unfiltered brand. Make sure you come back soon, legends.